Hello there. So each and every day we make so many decisions. For many of us, we make several decisions in our mind before we've even got out of bed. And it's decision fatigue that I'm talking about today. Decision fatigue is one reason why you may well give in when your child asks for one of the chocolate bars or treats lined up next to the till when you go to pay for your shopping. You've made a bunch of decisions as you've travelled through the supermarket, and decision fatigue has set in. In decision-making and psychology literature, decision fatigue refers to the decline in the quality of decisions made by all of us following a lot of decision-making. You may not think that you've made a huge amount of decisions, but you have. Whether just to get out of bed now or in 5 minutes' time, what to have for breakfast, whether to listen to the radio or not, and then in your news feed, you're bombarded with advertisements that you have to decide whether to read or not. Comments and articles you decide to respond to or not. News that you decide to respond to or not. You're making masses of decisions all the time, sometimes forced upon you. The more decisions you make, the more decision fatigue sets in. And this has been researched by a number of authors, but primarily look at the comprehensive research of the very brilliant Roy Baumeister and his 2003 publication, The Psychology of Irrationality. And then with some colleagues in 2005, Decision Fatigue Exhausts Self-Regulatory Resources. I'll give full references somewhere on the page that you're watching this video. As a real life example, with major impact, judges in courts of law have been shown to make poorer quality decisions or take easier options later on in the day than they do earlier on. You can go and look for the study entitled Extraneous Factors in Judicial Decisions, for example. An article at Business Insider suggested that major figures such as former US President Barack Obama, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg had been known historically to reduce the number of decisions they make each day by simply having one or two outfits that they wear every day. For myself, I always plan each day in the evening. The evening before, that is, for this reason. That is, I plan the next day before leaving my office. So when I come in, I don't have to decide what to do. I just do it. The pathway is there for me. I have no decisions to make, and I get to be at my best. My brain's at its freshest with those tasks, the important tasks that I start with. Decision fatigue leads to decision avoidance, impulse purchasing, lack of willpower, impaired self-regulation, and many believe it contributes to a number of psychological issues even. Dale Carnegie once said that our fatigue is often caused not by work, but by worry, frustration, and resentment. If you keep running mile after mile, you suffer from physical fatigue. You slow down and stumble because your leg muscles get tired, If you keep making decision after decision, you suffer from mental fatigue. You stop making decisions, or you make impulsive and inappropriate decisions. According to the previously mentioned psychologist Roy Baumeister, then, this mental fatigue zaps your willpower and your decision-making ability. You take shortcuts, you become angry with others, you make impulsive decisions, and you stop thinking about the consequences of your actions. Everyone suffers from decision fatigue, everyone, that includes you. So this video is with a view to showing you how to reduce or avoid decision fatigue and thus enhance the quality of the important decisions, the big life choices that you make. So here are some suggestions for avoiding decision fatigue and recovering from decision fatigue. Importantly, do stuff when you're not tired. We all function best at certain times of the day. Some people are night owls, some are early risers. You know yourself best, and when you are at your peak and when you've got your peak hours of productivity, use that to your advantage, not just to be productive, but also in making good decisions. Don't make big decisions when you are tired, hungry, or just spent, that's definitely a recipe for disaster. We only have limited energy in our day. Reserve the best part of you for the biggest tasks and the biggest decisions, or the most important ones, or the ones that are going to impact your life the most. Reduce decision fatigue by planning for future decisions. Plan your day, plan your week, plan your month in advance. Have your daily to achieve list ready the night before, as I mentioned earlier. Your action plan for the next week ready before the weekend. And your next 30-day strategic growth plan, or whatever it is that you do, ready before the end of the month. Whatever type of goal achieving system that you use, get it done in good time. Like I said earlier, I have a flashcard above the light switch in my office that reads, "Is tomorrow planned?" And it ensures that I've planned my day the night before, so that when I get into the office the next day, I just move straight on with it without having to make decisions, without having to plan, without having to sit in bed in the morning, start thinking about what it is I need to do. There's no decisions being made until I'm there. Then you won't have to make a decision about what you do. You just follow the plan. It also means things like making a weekly meal plan so that you know what you're eating, a daily default diary so your time is allocated, and putting important stuff earlier in the day when you are freshest. For example, you'll be prepared to make effective decisions when you're up and when you're at your best. Next up, take some breaks, take some short breaks. If you have to decide later in the day, try taking a power nap before then, or doing some mindfulness, or, like resting a muscle helps a muscle recover. The same applies for your mind. Have regular short breaks and a few longer ones through the day. Eating also helps the mind relax, but remember, poor choice of input will only cause, other headaches later on. So take a break, have something healthy, and, feel your mental energy coming back. I'm going to include a link to an article on how to take a restorative power nap according to the science. There'll be a link somewhere on this page that includes the science to support that. And so don't do this stuff on an empty stomach. Eat first, especially if you're deciding later in the day. Willpower, like I said, is like a muscle in the body and gets tired when it's overworked without breaks. And research indicates that willpower and self-control need glucose to work. Baumeister and Tierney reported that eating 3 meals a day and during breaks, healthily, rejuvenates willpower and helps us make better choices. Specifically, low glycemic diets prevent big spikes in glucose levels because it takes longer for the body to absorb. Healthy glucose levels will reduce decision fatigue. So establish a routine for making habitual choices. One of the most important things that you can do to reduce decision fatigue is to establish everyday routines. Select your personal uniform to wear every day if need be. Eat, know what it is you're eating, eating the types of things. Reduce the number of daily decision-making demands, I've included a link on installing effective routines and the ways in which you can benefit from routines in your life without becoming too much of an automatron, Avoid perfectionism. Make decisions to produce good enough results instead of impeccable results. If the task is at 80% for the things not at the top of your list, live with that. Otherwise, this perfectionism is nothing more than procrastination. You can always revisit a task at a later date, and ruminating about tasks adds to decision fatigue. Select the simpler choice every now and then. Decide upon the alternative that requires the least effort. And try to avoid having to make decisions about what to wear, the small stuff that's going to free up, more space, little patches of space for making other decisions. Save yourself the wasted headspace and use it for things that you can influence or have more influence over. You can also make simpler choices by having systems in place. For example, I use a system described in David Allen's book, How to Get Things Done, that involves a tickler file system for my paperwork. As a result, I never have a big to-do list hanging over my head. I know everything that needs to be done has been worked into my upcoming schedule. It's not contributing to decision fatigue any longer. So limit the number of options. Choose among 2 or 3 alternatives instead of a large number of picks. That is, research from Princeton University has suggested that price comparisons during purchasing depletes behavioral control. It occurs when someone gives us too many options and we become victims of the shiny object syndrome. We're so focused on the choices in front of us that we forget to make a choice. Remember that not making a choice is a choice in and of itself. You don't want to get distracted. Make your decisions in a calm and uncluttered environment, or at least keep your engagement to a minimum. Like with social media, set the time, set your timer for 5 minutes. Then stop browsing when the timer goes off, or start using an app like Rescue Time to help you recognize what you spend your time doing when you are online. When you're out shopping, look at the window displays, but don't necessarily go inside unless you have a specific item on your list. I know that's very challenging for some people. But once you get sucked in, realize you just complicated your life with more decisions. On Facebook, for instance, you have to choose what posts to read, what to like, who to comment back to or reply to. We sometimes have to resist advertisements that we're bombarded with that get sort of shoved into our news feeds. At the shop, we have to decide what to try on. Do they have this in your size? How many more items are in stock? What colors? What styles? And these processes can really advance decision fatigue. Start using our decision resources. So don't make too many decisions. Make less decisions. The more decisions you make, the more decision fatigue you have. It's as simple as that. If a decision is not related to an urgent and important item, that's going to contribute to your goals, then ignore it for a while. What to wear, when to take a meeting, what to eat. Try to simplify life as much as you can, and that's going to involve removing decisions that take up your precious time. It makes mornings in particular so much smoother. You can write out your to achieve list for the next day, and start limiting what goes on that list. The way that many people use those kind of to-do lists, it's exhausting. It's so much easier to knock tasks off your list or make big decisions when the small stuff is out of the way. Harvey Mackay says, fatigue makes fools of us all. It robs you of your skills and your judgment, and it blinds you to creative solutions. It's the best conditioned athlete, not the most talented, who generally wins when the going gets tough. I love that. Decision fatigue, it's a fact of life. Start out by picking a strategy for a week and see what happens, and tune it and tweak it. Then move to another strategy if you need to. Pretty soon you're going to learn how to strengthen your willpower and make better decisions at more times of the day. That's it for today, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Do subscribe to this channel to get notifications of all my latest videos as they happen. Do go visit my college website for details of our upcoming classroom-based courses and all of our online courses as well, on topics such as self-hypnosis and hypnotherapy. I send you my very best wishes. Goodbye for now.